Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, it's Sunday. You know what that means. What does it mean? Super Fun Sunday. What do I have? I have Michael Turner, Gallery Edition. This book is gigantic. It's all shot from original pencils. What is Super Fun Sunday? It's super fun. All right, let's do this. Okay, so as you guys know, I'm way into the big books. Just to give you a perspective of how big these books are. They're shot off the original art. And once I started getting a couple, well, one, I'm pretty much hooked. It's very difficult for me sometimes to go back to regular sized comic books and look at like the fully colored lettered work, although this book is lettered. And look, comic book lettering is an art form in itself. I actually love comic book lettering when it's done well. Yeah, so as I was kind of doing my homework on like what artist edition books would I want, I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos of people that had done sort of previews of the books and, kind of like open that books, quite honestly. And a guy had done this book, and I have to say, I really liked it. I've always been aware of Michael Turner's work through my whole career. I remember when he did Ballistic and Witchblade and a bunch of stuff, Fathom. But, I didn't really follow his work that closely. I was into different stuff at the time, but, I always respected him as an artist. He's always been really talented. He always draws attractive women, and, the stuff is really fun. Yeah, I saw a guy do a video of this book, and it was great. And I was like, man, this looks super fun. It's ironic that we're doing on a Super Fun Sunday, but I mean, honestly, it was just really cool. It's really, really good comic book art, and, it's all shot from the pencils, and it was different than any of the other ones that I had, and I was like, you know what, I want that. So I put a watch on eBay, and a guy put it up and had a best offer, offered him $80, and he went for it. So first things first, I'm not 100% positive, but I have a friend that did background assists for Michael Turner for a couple of years, and this looks like his work. So I know people, I think, assume that Mike drew everything. He did use assistants, not for everything, and I'm maybe wrong, and maybe that was Mike's background on that. But a friend of mine, Joel Gomez, definitely did backgrounds for Mike for a while. And, it is part of the magic of his work is that the details are always really, really good. So, sadly, Michael Turner died of cancer at a very young age. And it's a tragic loss. Everybody that knew him always said that he was just such a nice guy, very encouraging, a lot of charisma, exciting, fun, you name it. Like the guy was, really good skier and just sounded like a great person. I never got to meet him. As a fan, I walked by a comic book convention one time and saw him there signing, but look how nice this is. This is really cool. I have looked at maybe the first like 30 or 40 pages of this book. Like, look at these things that he drew here. It's crazy. Like, I mean, the level of detail just on those little things. It's a complicated little piece of thing to draw. And anyway, but yeah, this book is just really, really cool. And there's a huge kind of cover gallery. So, this is a tribute to Mike. Mike, we miss you. I said when I was talking about that this was what I was going to do today, that I think comics would be a lot funner today if you were still around. He influenced lots and lots of artists and will continue for years to come because his work was that special. It's just cool, detailed work. Fun, cool, it's exciting, it's dynamic. He came up through Top Cow. I would argue at certain points in his career, he actually eclipsed Mark Silvestri in terms of at least popularity. And he went on to create Aspen Comics. And, the dude just was dominating. Everything he did was win. So there's a real nice introduction from Frank here. And this book is just super cool. It's a great Superman, actually, right there. I like that a lot. Superman's tricky to draw. He can be. Oh, this is cool. I always love they do these like vellum overlays. But like, look how nice that lettering is. The logo is just sick. It's so cool. But so Mike, we love you. We miss you, and let's do this. We're gonna celebrate your work and have a really fun and super fun Sunday as a tribute to you. Look at this. That is cool comic book art. I'm telling you. I saw this guy go flip through this book, and I'm like, I want this. I want this in my life. I want to treasure it and learn from it, and I shall. But yeah, it was funny because the guy that did the video, he goes, like Mike, he draws like eyeliner on the guys. He kind of does, but it works. They're sexy. Everyone's sexy. That Batman's awesome. I love actually like the shine on the cape is really cool. I like the anatomy on the abs and obliques. I think that's what they're called. I don't know. Nice detail in the background. That bat boat thing or whatever. It's just really cool. It's a really nice piece. Very cartoony. Like it was interesting. Mike definitely, his style evolved. This is really cool too. And again, you know, I don't know. This could all be Joel. I'll have to ask Joel, and at some point maybe I'll do like a revisit of this. But I don't know. You know, this could have actually been Joel's work. It's possible. Looks like Joel's stuff to me. I worked with Joel at Wildstorm for a few years, and he would do backgrounds for Jim and some of the other people, and he's really good. He pencils his own stuff too, but he's got a knack for buildings too, which is good. Man, this is sick. Look at that freaking splash page. It's just great. Love the little erased parts for the smoke. And Peter Steigerwald did the colors on this book, I believe, and did just a fantastic job. It's beautiful in pencils. Again, look at this big 2-page spread. The thing is gigantic. We'll pull in, but man, the Batman is so cool. And Mike drew this, I believe, when he was sick and going through chemo. He was definitely, I think, ill during this series, and it's just incredible the inner strength that this guy had. And just it shows you how fortunate we are if you are healthy right now and you have the ability to do something today, to work on art, or hang out with your family or friends, or goof around on the internet. I mean, you know, feel lucky, because we are. But yeah, this is really cool. I love this shot too. This is really cool. He's got a real nice cinematic feel to his stuff. It's actually more advanced than you would think. Like it's easy to take this stuff for granted when you see a book and go, oh yeah, there's like ships under the water. But like, look, if you're ever trying to draw something like this or lay out something like this, it's a whole other challenge. This is really cool. I'm telling you, this book is really nice. I was so impressed. And I haven't seen the whole thing. There's, like I said, there's a huge like pinup and color cover gallery in the back that I barely peeked at. But we'll skip ahead at some point to that if one of the videos getting a little long. But again, just nice detail. He's really good with texture. It's kind of like a Top Cow, I think, like thing. Is Mark led by example and always did like really beautiful texture in his work. And Mike really kind of exemplifies that with his stuff. It's a great Batman too. Really nice. He's good with perspective too, like all the gear and stuff like that looks comfortable and feels, you know, like it fits in the world. There's no weird angles and stuff like that. This is great too. I'm telling you, man, this guy is badass. Really good. Super inspirational. That's really nice. Yeah, the assistant thing at Top Cow was interesting. Is I had mentioned that they had a little bit more of a Marvel bullpen mentality at that studio, as say compared to Wildstorm, where at Top Cow it wasn't uncommon to see like Mark Silvestri as the penciler of a book, but if you looked at the inside credits, you might see 3 to 5 pencil assistants. And even as many inkers, even though there would usually be sort of like a flagship marquee name credited for the inks, it wasn't uncommon to have multiple inkers on a book. And maybe they were doing full pages, but in general, they worked in a little bit of a different way. But it's effective, you know, as long as is the person art directing the book, in this case, Michael Turner, is overseeing everything, it can be a lot more seamless than you would think. And you know, Otomo did it on Akira, I'm nearly sure. And you know, at the end of the day, it is Otomo's work. Because if something doesn't work, they'll either go in and change it, or this is crazy. It's so detailed. I'm gonna try to open my curtain a little bit more, see if I can get more daylight in here, as opposed to. But look how detailed this stuff is. It's just sick. And that's the thing too, is I mean, you do need to move this stuff through and have work this detailed. And I've talked about this before. We'll take Top Cow out of the equation. The level of detail that Image Comics established in comic books is not doable generally on a monthly schedule, and yet it is sometimes expected of the talent to be able to deliver stuff like this. Like, you hire someone that's sort of known for this level of detail and they don't do it, the editor is going to kind of feel like, hey, what happened? So it's something that we have to deal with if you're considered a detailed artist. I would say in general, to work in an Image style, the most comfortable probably pace would be to do about 9 issues a year. 8 or 9 books, but really kick-ass books. But you schedule it that way: 4 in, 2 off, 4 in, kind of thing, and sort of rotate it where there's built-in. This is how I would do it if I ran a company: is have the marquee artist do a 4-issue arc, have 2 fill-ins, and then bring them back for 4, and just kind of rotate that for the run. Man, it's so cool. Because it's just, this is going to wear you out if you're trying to do a page a day of this. It would be a lot of work. So cool. He's great with sort of stylized clothing too. Like, that's nice. Again, it's one of those things where it can look, I mean, this doesn't look simple by any means, but sometimes stuff can look easy because they draw it and make it look so effortless, and then you try it and it's like, you're like, oh man, I don't know where to put the creases or whatever it is. This is cool. What do you think? This is super fun, right? I told you, this guy's a beast. I love that it's shot from pencil too. It's the only one that I have right now shot from pencil, but I like that it is. I think it's really neat. And for inkers looking for sample pages, this wouldn't be a bad book if you're a fan of Michael Turner to pick up, because you could always scan one of these pages, print it out, and then do a blue line, and really work on your detail inking skills using some of these pieces. Just a suggestion for people that are hunting for that kind of thing. These books, just in general, are great. They're great study tools, because the thing is the proportions of a comic book page is so large in person that you kind of do need to get used to drawing at this size and being able to look at that. It's so cool. I'll go back up in a second. Oh, and this is like the full page of that one detailed shot. Yeah, to keep your proportions in check when you're drawing this large is actually tricky. A lot of these guys will lay this stuff out a bit smaller and then blow it up to size and then lightbox at least the structure and then detail over it on the big board, because it's not easy. The cape is really cool. Man, it's so nice. And in color, I bet it looks beautiful too, because Peter is really a great colorist. Isn't this nice? I mean, this is an exciting comic. He's sort of like the James Cameron of like comic books. I think like everything Mike does always looks pretty big budget. Like no expense was spared on the pages, and that's cool. You get it, and you really feel like you're in a movie watching it, and it's stylized, and it's kind of a fantasy version of the world, but I mean, that's what comics is about. It should be fantastic and fun. Look at the cape. It's really cool. This is nice too. Great shot. Again, he's really good. He learned this from Mark, one of the masters, and probably from other people too, but the way he moves the camera around. Look, you've got this great down shot of like the city. Look at the perspective there. You see that? How it's at one point we're it's almost curvilinear. And then it arcs over back this way, and now all of a sudden the perspective is shifted because the vanishing point is down in here. And then he gives you this nice, fairly large side shot of Superman just like clawing the crap out of this blimp. The blimp's going down. He flies off. He's this little tiny figure there. I mean, in color, can you imagine like how clear that is with this glowing and going towards the water? And then nice big shot. So he mixes up his sizes in just such a killer way and looks so nice. I've always had trouble with this too. The cape on the shoulders, like wrapping around, it's I'm better at it now, but that's a tricky little spot. Can be, at least for me. This is nice too. Look at this stuff. I'm telling you, this book knocked me off my feet. This is, man, I would love to be able to draw stuff like this. It just looks so time consuming. I need an assistant. No. I'll have to call Joel. I'm curious of what if Joel worked on this or not. Man, look at that. That's so cool. Man, that's so nice. I skipped from here. This is really cool too. Again, just no expense spared on these pages. They're so neat. Palm fronds on that. Dude, if you're the inker, that's going to take a while just to do the foliage in this panel. You're going to dig in. Although this stuff wasn't inked though, actually. It was actually colored from the pencils. So nice hand. That crystal in the hand is cool. Man, I could do a whole video on this whole book. Here we'll go fast through these. These pages are kind of they're nice, but there's so much good stuff. Let's just we'll kind of crank a little bit. So you got nice splash page, Superman, Supergirl, and then like this is a cover. Oh, it's the cover of the book too. Again, when I shoot the video, sometimes I get a little sort of it's like I'm slightly disconnected from what I'm shooting, if that makes sense. Like I'm more focused on just making sure that I'm giving you clear shots than what I'm seeing, if that makes sense. Like I'm just shooting the page. I'm not really looking at everything. It's really cool. Again, nice gear. Very, very cool. Yeah, I can't believe this guy's gone. It just sucks, man. It really, really sucks. Man. It's so nice. It's so cool. I get why he was so popular. I'm telling you, it was at one point him and J. Scott Campbell were like the number 1 and number 2 guys, and they basically kind of jockeyed for that position like a horse race, where they had kind of eclipsed their bosses at that point, meaning Mark and Jim. Both had worked a lot and were kind of like not as active. And you know, Mike and Jeff, just they were the number 1 and number 2 guys, and it's like, you know, Jeff would come out with a book, and then he would sort of edge him out for a little bit, and then Mike would do something, and then Mike was on top, and then Mike started Aspen, and Jeff had Cliffhanger, and you know what I mean? It was really, really exciting. Like healthy competition that brings out great work. You know, it's like the Stones and the Who, or Metallica, and I don't even know who Metallica would be up against. Megadeth? It was funny. I shared an office with J. Scott Campbell for a while, and we would always talk about music. And he said one time, he goes, "I'm kind of like the Poison of comics." So we would always like compare bands, like what band would an artist be. It's actually kind of a funny conversation to have. It's interesting how you know, based on career, how heavy hitting their art is. That's really nice. Look at the armor there. It's so cool. I mean, every panel is kind of like a small work of art. I mean, it really is. It is that nice. I love it. His Batman is really, really cool. This kind of reminds me of a video game in a little bit, in a little way, like some of the storytelling. Okay, so we'll hustle past these pages. They're nice, but nothing to it saying. Well, this book is huge. I mean, we're not even 1/10 of the way through. So, like I said, we'll hustle. Look at that shot. Man, that's so killer. This lady's crazy looking. It's funny because that actually reminds me a tiny bit of like Jim Lee stuff in this particular shot. Like it's a little more crinkly lined, but solid. And, oh yeah, it's double page spread. That's cool. Get the focus on. I'll try to pull out so you can see the whole thing. But again, just like, so check this out. It's like huge character right here. Very big. Again, just super dynamic. Great hands. One's coming towards you. One's going away from the camera. I mean, this is all really, really important stuff that makes stuff exciting. You've got this spear coming out at like just, like crossing over the panels below. And then he pulls the camera out and he gives you some small stuff. And then, medium small. And then this nice silhouette of, I believe it's Darkseid. Nice city shot. Got Clark Kent and Supergirl, I believe. Suspicious guy in glasses. Look at this. This is crazy detailed. This is nice. Man, this is so much work, I'm telling you. Based on the job that I just did over Ed Benes, this would take... These are like 15 to 20 hour pages, some of these, honestly. It's a lot of work for a single comic book page. Mike's original art is quite collectible. It was when he was alive too. Just to be clear that people really, really loved it, and so it was quite desirable. And it's amazing that they were able. Well, I guess because the book was colored from the pencils, that they had these shots off the original boards. But man, thank God they did, because this book is just such a treat. It's really, really cool. It's amazing that people can get this good at drawing comics, and this is coming from someone who's done comics for a long time. But it always just impresses me, because you have to understand how much different stuff you're called upon to draw that you might not have drawn before, and the angles and the shots, and it's at some point you just must turn a corner with the versatility of what you can do. Like, you can figure it out if you don't know how to draw it, if that makes sense, or if you haven't drawn it. I guess more specifically is you have all the problem solving skills and tools in your tool belt to draw a character at an angle that you haven't done it before, put a costume on a character that you haven't done before, draw a hand at an angle that you haven't drawn before. That's a nice fist, actually. This is really cool too. But yeah, Mike really, really had that. Really cool page. Batman coming in. Hello. Face me. If you insist. She wouldn't talk like that though. Actually, it'd be way more friendly voice. Kicky, punchy, chokey. Oh, he injected her. Take that, you mean lady. Okay, we're gonna hustle. So we're at 22 minutes. We've got 8 minutes left. Oh, Wonder Woman. She's on the scene, yo. Wonder Woman. This is a cool cover. Man. It's funny, like the Amazon's training. That's cool. Kia. Yeah, real nice cover. Again, sizes. It's the nice design. This on the shelf colored is going to stand out. You got the real nice big shot of Wonder Woman. Batman and Superman are framed. The stars kind of lead down to these girls training, and you've got the nice detail with the, I don't even know whatever, the palace kind of thing. Then some nice leaves that sort of lead you out. Signature. It's a nice page. And he hasn't done like this storytelling yet in the book, so it feels kind of fresh. You want to mix it up. If you use too many of your sort of like things over and over again, it can feel a little repetitive, and people may not pick up on it, but that can definitely weaken yourself. This is a very, very detailed spread too, man. I'm telling you, this is like 3 days worth of work easily to ink this. This would take a while. This would just suck up hours. Like, you would work and it would look like a little bit was getting done, but you would realize that you're just not really getting anywhere on it. In terms of like actually completing it. Like, each section would just take an hour, 2 or 3 hours. Just, I mean, I could tell you, like, so like from here, all this, like, these characters would probably take about an hour to 90 minutes just to do those 3 girls, and then this would take maybe probably 40 minutes, and then the stairs and the rest of it, I mean, you're looking at a decent amount of time just to do that little section. And you know, it's a lot of characters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters on this spread. Oh, it's a nice shot of Batman with his arms crossed. Naturalistic orcs. Oh man, that's cool too. Getting choky with it. Come here. Don't touch her. So I hope everyone's having a good day. If not, I hope it's a little better after you get to see some cool art. Okay, we're going to start to hustle now. I keep saying that. We're really going to do it this time. Really dig his Batman. That's cool, man. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, man, look at this. Dude, that's sick. Wow. I have not seen this, so this is all new pages to me. So I only got, man, I didn't even get a quarter of the way through the book because there's still so much left. We may have to do a part 2. I might not do it next week, but we'll definitely come back to this doing part 2. I'll talk to my friend Joel. I'll try to find out a little background on if he worked on this or not. Again, at this point, we'll assume that he didn't, and we'll just say that this is all Mike's work. But I'll try to find out for a fact. Not that it matters, but you know what I mean. Like it's an interesting backstory to this stuff, and it doesn't. To me, it doesn't personally take away from the work because it was integrated so seamlessly that it actually. The hand is awesome. Whoo! Look at this 2-page spread. God damn, it's awesome. Shit would take so long. Oh my god. I'm telling you, man, that is so crazy. It really is a big commitment to draw stuff like this. I'm telling you. Again, there's so many characters on this piece. And really, you're going to focus on kind of the foreground characters, but he gives it to you all, man. Nice hands again. Oh, man, he's got little claw fingers. And there's even little characters back here. Do you see those? Man, yeah, it's still a lot of work. That's a great spread. Man, alive. Dude, he was not messing around. I'm telling you. He drew like this, though. If you get the Ballistic mini-series, he started out, like, there was a lot of, like, Wolf's Portaccio in his stuff, at least from my point of view. It was definitely, you could see Silvestri had probably guided him to some extent, but there was definitely a little bit of a Wills thing going on. I'm trying to think what the other influences were. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but yeah, I mean, those guys were really, really packing pages at that point. And then over time, Mike's stuff got, maybe like more, I wouldn't call it manga influence, but his stuff got a little more cartoony. But man, he did not drop out on the detail. Holy cow, this stuff is just... Yeah, but you could see why seeing just some of this book, you would want to get it. I would say it averages around $115, but just be patient. Honestly, I waited maybe a month. I saw that I wanted it. I put the watch on eBay, and just kind of every morning I get little notifications like of people uploading them. I'd say at 125 is what I generally see it asked at. But yeah, a guy had make an offer. I offered him $80 or 85, and he took it. Yeah, I have no regrets. This is just so cool. I'll come back and check this out many, many times. I think because it's in pencil too, it really does make it neat. Although it would look great inked, honestly. I mean, he always had great inkers. D-Tron, I'm sure Bat inked them. Joe Weems, and probably others too that what's his name? Shoot, I can't think of it. But they had a lot of really good inkers at Top Cow. I always felt that they were a really, really talented studio. Man, yes, really, really cool stuff. So we're at 29 minutes. My camera will shut off at 33, so if you can see the counter, it may cut out. Definitely smash like on this video, please. Comment and let me know. Did you have fun checking it out? Up to the point, do you want to see a part 2? Because I would love to do a part 2. We're going to skip to the back really fast now, I think. And we'll check out some of the cover gallery stuff. So there's quite a few, and they're okay. So this is the end. Okay, so I'm trying to get in here. Oh yeah, so there's this cover. This is nice, man. Really, really cool. And it's tough. I'll tell you what, to do really finish tight pencils like this is challenging. I mean, I've always had real tight, clean pencils, but it's work to have pencils look like a showpiece because not everyone draws that way. I mean, you're definitely going in refining, and the fact that you don't see tons of like underdrawing, like here you can. I'm showing this area because you can kind of see a little bit of the underdrawing, but which would lead me to believe that he probably did light box the stuff. Like he probably laid it out, got it to size, fitted it on the page, and then light boxed the image to keep the stuff a bit cleaner. Which again, nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's an effective way to work, especially when you know, you're trying to shoot from the pencils. You need them clean. It's a real nice Robin. Good hands again. Oh, I remember this cover. It's funny. I've never actually seen it. This sounds like a little bit of a Frank Quietly feel. Quite frankly, Frank Quietly feel. Oh, it's interesting. He outlined the eyelashes in this one, so it was either very stylized colors on it or Peter dropped in the dark areas on it. And he makes these characters look fun to draw, which is, I always think, like a testament to a good artist is like they inspire you to want to draw characters that maybe you wouldn't normally connect with. You know, like if you're not a huge Luther fan or something like that, you see someone like Mike draw it and go, oh man, that looks fun. Looks like maybe a sketch from a show. That's cool. Oh yeah, I like this cover a lot. What do you think? This book is awesome, right? So worth $80. Come on. I mean, I would have dropped 100 on it. Honestly, I was being patient, but you know, I use these, like, my big thing with any of these books is if I can improve one page of art that I do out of it, then it was worth the money. Because you know, I was like this too. It's funny, the shoe made me think of Mike was always good at really kind of infusing sort of like current fashion in his stuff, so that it always felt pretty of the time. You know, you as an artist, you want to really be mindful of kind of like style and cuts of clothes and stuff like that when you do it, although sometimes the costumes are pre-made. But at least the characters that are in your stories, you know, you have to really sort of, you know, if you're not a fashionista comic book artist, which most of us probably aren't, you need to pay attention to that stuff, because if not, your stuff is going to look a little out of step with what's happening. This is nice too. I love these small figures. Yeah, he was really talented. Mike, we miss you, man. Seriously. But thank you for leaving behind your legacy of work, because it was awesome. All right, camera's going to cut out. You guys have a great day. I will see you all tomorrow with a Journey of 1,000 Miles, and I'll try to have some sort of surprise in it. Really cool. Wow, look at that. We'll leave it on this. Boom. Superman. Give one more. I don't remember these pieces. He leaves it nice and open for color. Man, I'm sure that looked great finished. Okay, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.